Let me start again. The excuse me, the outline we're going to cover. Let's see if we can do two or three of them today, as in session one, two, and probably three. It's not going to be much of a difference, just a few setup ish changes that we'll make in 3ds Max. So one, I'll be introducing the interface, viewport navigation, how to create basic primitives, working with objects, freezing, changing parameters. All these ones should just be under one topic. I don't know. Just having them a lot is just something else. So, okay, let's dive in. Okay, 3ds Max, short form for 3D Studio Max. So it's say one of the first 3D softwares. The person who created it, but Autodesk bought them somewhere along the line. And 23. Yeah, that's the same I put for all of you. Mm. Your systems will be able to carry this 2023, but anything 2025 will be too heavy. Okie dokie. So this is a that viewports ribbons, just like we had in AutoCAD. These are ribbons. These are tabs for. I mean, these are ribbons. This one here, this blue one here, those are tax bar or our tools bar. So there are a lot of tools and tags here. Main menu. This guy here, this is the Scene Explorer. Very briefly, it has anything that you put in your view or in your project will appear here. This little icon here just shows how your viewports will be displayed. There's this four squares here. If you click on the arrow, you could get a few more viewport displays so that because when you are designing, you want to be seeing different things at the same time. This is your timeline, um, the time slider. This is your coordinates right here, your VCR buttons, your key, your keying controls for keying, auto keying, the other for keyframing. Then these are your nav bar, your nav tools, navigation tools. In case you don't have a mouse, this is your command prompt where you have everything that you want to do, like creating of objects, modifying the objects, changing of pivot points and simulations and stuff. Everything will be done in this small place here, this drop window here. Okay, then we've already seen this view cube in AutoCAD. So same way, if work functions the same way, you can turn it off if you don't want to. So now, anytime you are using this software, 3ds Max or Maya, so we always talk about a filing system where if you create a new project, you want to make sure that everything you use in that project, from the textures to the source images or reference images, whatever it is, has to be stored in the same location because it tells you that if you open up the file and those things are separated, it might not open or it might not display well. Yeah. Okay. Assets, yeah. Mm. Yeah. It should be gray. It should be gray too. Mm. Oh, okay. So very creepy. So. Yeah, very important. So there's one thing that 3ds Max helps because for some reason some people might forget to do that. So we can let it have a relative path, give the files a relative path. Is he still sleeping? Wait. Amir Jenkins. Mm. You are opening Maya. Remove those glasses. This. Why like you? There's this guy. I don't know. Have you connected the Bluetooth mouse? Connect it because it's why it's. Let me connect it. Is that it? 9 BBT. Is that what this guy said? What is the name of the mouse? What did he call it? He didn't give you a name. He just gave you. Okay, this is BTS mouse. Uh, what is the name of this mouse? Oh, I don't know, but whatever he says, she's doing a good job. Focus. I'm going to invite you now. When? Which shows? That last week Friday. No, it's every Friday now. It's not Friday night live. Don't mind it. Uh, for now, just use this nav, guys, to work. Okay, so I want to do the setup that will allow us get our files relatively so that it doesn't look for it specifically. So even if the file is not in the same folder, as long as it's on your system, it can just find a way to link it. So let's come under File and Preferences. Let's go and set up some preferences. Mm, File. Under File, in File menu, the last second to last preferences there. Okay. Yes. Um, Rendering. Mm. So architectural drawing, then modeling basically. So, but primarily used by gaming by the deduction industry. It creates very, like I said, very classic or high tech quality models, and it has a very clean engine. So very good for all those kind of rendering excellence. So right now is used mostly by engineers and architects because of its seamless work with AutoCAD and Revit and all those other um, this thing, because most of those architectural drawing softwares, AutoCAD, Revit, and the rest, is owned by Autodesk now. So yeah, Autodesk just took over the engineering world. Adobe took over the creative world. Right. Maya is easiest for character because a lot of the things you need for character design is inside is inside Maya. Is inside Maya. So um, and like I said before we started, 3ds Max is actually very complex. It's like combining Maya and AutoCAD together. The complexity of drawing in AutoCAD with the ease of use with Maya together into to get 3ds Max. So another benefit of 3ds Max is because it can work with AutoCAD and Revit and the rest. It also has access to those libraries, AutoCAD libraries, all those their libraries of files or materials or bipeds and stuff. So uh, somewhere along the line, I didn't bring my hard drive. I got some bipeds that we'll use for some um, textural animation. Okay, so back to this guy. Um, I want to go under files. So under files, general files. So the second option there, convert local file paths to relative. That's what we want to check. A lot of other things, but it depends on what we want to go. Mm, so can drink what that's what now this interaction mode mostly is good for people that mastered Maya before they came to master 3ds Max, because here you can set your mouse functions to work like Maya. So the navigation and everything will work as if you are using Maya. But right now it's on 3ds Max for 3ds Max only. Since we've not mastered Maya yet, we will leave this one as is. If you want to change anything about most of these other guys, we'll come back into it later. But let's see the rendering. I want to set it for PAL so that at least we need 24 frames. So let's set it for PAL. Yeah, just that. Let us set that one. Anything else seriously that I want to do, we'll come back into it and check. So I click OK. Rendering. Mm. PAL. I think from NTSC to PAL. Yeah. Okay, so 3ds Max navigation is very similar to AutoCAD for navigating around the perspective view, except that instead of shift and middle mouse button to orbit, in 3ds Max is alt and middle mouse to orbit. The scroll is the same, and the pan is the same. That's yeah, clicking on the middle mouse and moving will pan. Scrolling the middle mouse will dolly in and out. But now instead of shift and middle mouse, you use alt and middle mouse to orbit your scene. Remember, I said there's a difference between orbit and rotate, right? So orbit is camera based, rotate is object based. Um, zoom is object based, dolly is camera based, and stuff like that. Okay. Now, if I want to go into a viewport, enlarge a viewport specifically, and in 3ds Max, the shortcut is Alt W. So wherever, yeah, Alt plus W will go into wherever view that your mouse is hovered over. So Alt W to exit the full screen mode for that viewport. So primarily, anything that has to do with most things have to do with your viewports, use the short or helper key Alt and whatever key else that you are doing. So, for instance, if you let me shift back to okay. All right, 3ds Max has a whole lot of menus. Apart from these ones here that we see, it has a whole lot of menus that are not visible in this main menu function. So we call them quad menus. They are usually activated by right click on anyone you're seeing. So the quad menus appear depending on what you are right clicking on. If you right click on the empty space, you bring out a different quad menu for whatever was clicked. If there's an object in your scene and you right click on the object, you bring out a different quad menu for that. So let's say for this size, I drew a box. So, and I right click on it, it brings out a quad menu that will help me work with this box. But right clicking here, I have a quad menu that brings out things that don't have to relate with the box, rather with my view instead. Okay, so whatever. Okay, another thing that is important in 3ds Max, similar to AutoCAD, you have to set up your units of measurement before you begin. So unfortunately, you cannot just type units and units will appear like AutoCAD. So you set up your units of measurement. We want to go to customize in your main menu, and then we have certain things that can be done to your viewport, like you can customize your user interface in case you want something different, something darker or something brighter. Hotkey editor, that is your shortcut keys. You want to create some shortcut keys or edit some that are there. Excuse me. Um, if you are someone that has used 3ds Max in previous versions or in a newer version, and you liked a setup of the UI, but this one doesn't have that setup, you can save that UI from here and come here and load it, like just like transferring of files there. Then this show UI here is what is showing right now on the screen. We have the command panel, which is this guy here. We have the ribbon, which is this one here. We have the time slider, the one with the numbers. We have the viewport layout tabs, the main toolbar, and floating viewport. So if you turn off anything, like now if I turn off ribbon, the ribbon disappears. So it's no longer showing. Okay, so sometimes when you are working, you just want to have some space to work. So you may want to clear up some things. Okay, so but for units, like I said, you go under unit setup and you change your units to either metric or US. US standard is usually feet and inches. Metric system uses centimeters, millimeters, meters, and kilometers, and on like that. Okay, so depending on what you want to use, you can pick either. I like using metric system because that's primarily where I work with. But if I'm going to be doing architectural design, most times architectural design is measured with the US standard, that's inches. I might want to switch to inches here. Otherwise, I would just have to figure out how to convert inches to meters, back and forth either way. Okay, so I'll do the metric. I'll do um, millimeters. So I like using millimeters, not meters. Meters is quite wide. Lighting units, yes, you want to leave it at international, not at American. We don't use American lighting here in this part of the world. America is 110 watts. We use 220 watts, so we're not going to use it. Why laughing? I said 220. I said 20. Oh yeah, I we use 220 watts. Funny enough, and we still don't have the light. But the output of our lights is higher based on UK standards. American use is less output. If you are buying an equipment from America, usually comes with a step down that steps your light down. If you just connect it direct, it might blow the fuse or the circuit. So, all right, so I'll just click OK. In our views, we have all these things. These things we saw them in AutoCAD. We saw them in AutoCAD. So, uh, yeah. You, you said I want to blow up the screen. I said that was oh that what he's saying. All W. Okay, so this section here is just like what we had in AutoCAD, where if you draw something, you can preview it in wireframe or in realistic mode or all this kind of stuff. So it's not a switch that you find here. You just click here and do it. So let's see how to draw, and then we'll now go and check how to preview this guy. So far so good. Are we cool with the basic explanations we've had? Mm. Yeah. Yeah, you right click. Is a quad menu. Mm. It brings out some other tools. Yeah, that was under customized. We're trying to set up the units. So unit setup. Mm. All right. Okay. So like I said, for navigation, you can use these tools. This a lot of these guys also existed in AutoCAD, like zoom extents, zoom to frame all, and all those other setups here. So, let's see how to create objects. So, like I said, everything that we're going to be doing will be dependent on the command panel. That's this right side here. So under the cross, that's where we have create. Okay, you have create here as a menu, and then all these objects here are listed. The same things that will be listed here in your create, because all these submenus are submenus in the create tab as well. So that creates, we have this circle for geometry. We have this circle and square for shapes. We have lights, cameras, helpers, we have space warps, and then we have systems. All these are under create. Under geometry, if you click on this banner here, we have standard primitives, extended primitives, compound objects, vertical systems, and blah, blah, blah. So what a primitive is, what we call a primitive object, basically is an object that already has a defined shape, but then it uses parameters to um, modify them, or sometimes we call them parametric primitives, meaning something like if I take this box to draw, you see I have um, something like this length, width, height, segments, and all the stuff. These are parameters. So primitive objects are usually controlled by playing around with the parameters. You can scrub through and change the object from here. Remember in AutoCAD, if I wanted to expand this guy, I will click on the uh, on one blue tag and then drag it again. Or I'll have to open the layer properties, select this one and start doing a lot of left to right. So it's usually faster working from here. So this is a primitive, is an object that is already defined, or a shape that is already defined. So like you have cubes, cones, sphere, cylinder, tube, pyramids, they are already defined shape. So let me go into full screen with Alt W, and I want to draw a box. Now, if you click on the icon for what you want to draw, there's some other setup that comes up that allows you determine how your drawing will look like before you begin. So here I have creation method, cube and box. I have layer color, meaning as this thing is pink, if I draw, the cube I'm going to draw will be pink. Not that it's the material, but that's just the layer color. So if I said cube and I click to drag, it will draw a cube, as in like an already set up box with equal length, width, and height. If I set it to box, then I will click and drag to first of all set length, width, and then height. So that's the difference between cube and box. Cube will just bring out the shape. Box will will allow you determine the length, width, and the height of the cube or the box that you are drawing. So now that these boxes are here, under my default, let me start explaining these guys from the right to the left. Default shading is how I'm looking at it right now. And this is the shading based on the layer, not based on the color of the object, because the object is not gray. It's just the layer that is gray. This one is green. So default shading, you can click on it and you have other options. Like you can change to wireframe override, so it shows like wireframe, just as if you're using AutoCAD, 2D wireframe. You can change to clay, you can change to flat color, you can change to whatever option that you want to basically the one that suits you the best is the one that you want to change to. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Are we cool? Right. So those are for boxes. If you want to draw a cone, the stuff opens as well, but instead of um, Cube and box, what we have is edge and center. What that means is creation method from center, the cone will generate from the center. Edge, the cone will generate from wherever I started drawing it from. So let me do center. If I click and drag, you see my cone, I will get the width of the round points there, and then I get the height, and then I get the taper of the cone. If I change to edge, it doesn't draw from the center, it draws following where I started drawing from. So they will still make cones, it's just that how they will be drawn is from different angles of where my mouse is dragging over. So it's having these lines because I'm using facets. If I use default shading, you won't see those lines. So I like displaying lines. Sometimes, just like with AutoCAD, I like doing edge faces. So that it gives me the edges so I can see the divisions on the shape. Okay, and the same thing for almost every other object. Now, there is a trick here. If I draw like a sphere like this, okay, as I finish drawing, I need to come out of drawing mode. To come out of drawing mode, that is to exit so that this cross doesn't show anymore. If I don't do that, if I click to drag again, it will draw another circle. Even if I click on the original circle that's here, it's going to draw another circle. So, and it will keep drawing circles till I come out of this. So the way to come out of this is right click on your mouse. After you finish drawing what you need to draw, just right click on your mouse so that you come out of um, the drawing mode. Are we cool? You sure? No questions? You say Omo? Okay, so we have a lot of them. The most common tool in 3ds Max, or the one of the most basic tools to draw or objects to draw, is a teapot. Mm. Just a teapot. So it's one of the most basic stuff to draw. In Maya, we see the teapot when we are trying to create materials, but not as an object. 3ds Max is the software that has a teapot object, not that you created a teapot. The teapot already exists. Object. So 3ds Max is the software that has that, and you can change all the factors from here. The radius is the size of teapot. The segment is how many divisions it's gonna have, and on and on like that. So all these guys are standard primitives. You use them to create simple shapes like that. Then we have extended primitives. They are also parametric primitive objects, but they are not solid shapes like the cube and the sphere and the cone. They are more like in just Desha. So let's say this Hedra, for instance, is going to draw a hedra shape. The torus knot, the spindle, right? It has this, it has the height, and then it has this thing. So, mm, okay. Then C extension, L extension, Genga, ring wave, holes, prism, the torus knot, and on like that. Okay, so that is these are primitive and extended shapes. Are we okay? And try to draw some stuff. Let's see. Might come and draw my system. No, don't worry. I'm just no. I said draw something. I'm the one that yes, blind tools. Yes, spline. Draw geometric objects and extended premises. Let me just see. Just Mike. I said, come and use my sim and draw. That's beautiful. That's why it's perfect. So, okay. So when it comes to shapes, like I said in Illustrator, they call those things corner radius and all those stuff corners because you are dealing with 2D shapes, right? It's just basically where two lines meet. But when it comes to 3D shapes, it's not a corner anymore. So it's the naming system changes to fillets because now you are rounding off not just where two lines meet, but where at least three lines meet. Because technically, what will create a shape is connection of three or more lines, right? That's what creates a shape. Then what will create a mesh? Remember when we did this thing in um, Illustrator. When we're doing Illustrator, I was trying to specify what is the smallest point of a drawing. We called it a what? A point, right? Or a dot, right? Or in what? Yeah, you could call it an anchor point or an anchor. Now, the next names are the names that you will find a lot in 3D, like a node and a vertex. All of them talk about the same thing, a point. But where it is used is where the difference is. You don't have points in 3D. Yeah? You don't have a dot in 3D. You have an anchor. Basically, a point or a dot is a an object or an element on a plane. You cannot go around it. You can't go to the back. You can't go to the front. You can't go around it, but you can move it. So but it's a vertex. A vertex is a point in 3D space. What makes an object 3D is the fact that you can go around it. So it's just a point in space. For it to be a point in space, it means I can move to another point in space and be looking at that point from a different angle. So it's called a vertex or a node. We also have nodes in 2D though, but preferably nodes. And then when we come to lines now, we had in 2D, we had the name line, right? Then we have what again? Path. What other name? A path. What's a path? What other name did we give it lines? Curves. What other name did we give it? Street light. Street light. All right. Okay, spline. Good. So, is there any other one? Another name? Hmm? Contour. Okay. So, but okay, let me put that one in an asterisk. Contour. There's one more that is missing. It's an edge. Okay. So we have lines in 2D. What is a line? Where two points, when 2 points, what connects 2 points together is a line. So we don't have points in 3D, so we don't have lines. We have vertices in 3D. So what when two vertices meet or when they are connected together, what do they form? They form an edge or they form a spline or they form a curve or they form a path. So in 2D, you can use paths, you can use curves, but when you are talking about curves in 2D, you're basically talking about a line that is curved. General, that is the concept. But in 3D, a curve, this could be called a curve. It's not about whether it is bent or whether it is straight. It's the fact that it is an interconnection of vertices, right? So it's called a curve because with curves you can change their point. So, but the most commonly used words or line tools in 3D are called splines, like surface points line or something like that. Okay, so why I asterisk a contour is a line that forms the boundary of a shape. So that guy connects from the boundary of a shape. So and then we had this other one. We had shapes. We had what? Okay, we had mesh. We had form. Polygons or polygon faces. So we can use this term to define all these guys. But the difference between this one and this one is a shape is an element that has a defined structure. So if I draw this, you can already tell it's rectangle or square or triangle or circle. So the name shape is more technically used to define that. And then you see an element like this. It is technically a shape, but it's not a shape because I can't give it a name. Just like amoeba stuff. So the best technical term for this would be called a form. It is a shape, yes, but I can't identify it. So I would use the term form to identify it. right? So that now makes it very easy to know that okay, this is you're talking about a shape that doesn't really have a structure. Good. So shapes are a point is the smallest part of a drawing. A line is a connection of two or more points. Shapes are a connection of three or more lines, right? Good. So when it comes to 3D now, we are talking about vertices. So a vertex is the smallest points in 3D. The, an edge is a connection of two or more vertices, okay, or a spline. Now, when you now connect three or more edges together, you now get a polygon face. Okay. What is a mesh now? A mesh is a shape that comprises of vertices connected by edges, connected by faces, and they are all stitched together. That's a mesh. So when you have a sphere in 3D, a sphere like a geometric object, it is a basic sphere. When you have this one and you now see lines like this is a mesh because it is vertices that connect to form edges, which connect to form faces that are now stitched together to form this shape. So that is a mesh. So meshes have uh, stitches around them. So yes, as we've drawn this shape now, you can see that this are um, divided, subdivided. So that already makes that object a mesh. Good. So in in 3D, basically the more lines, sometimes it can turn around, it can twist around. The more the more the lines you have on the this, let's say the more the segments or the more the divisions, the smoother the object gets. Sometimes the more the divisions, the more defined the object gets. So it can be flipped in a way. Like if I'm making an object and it becomes too smooth, I can introduce two more edges or two more um, yeah, two more looped edges that will now make it harder on those edges, on those corners. So basically, one word we will hear as well. Remember when we're doing basics of 3D, I said there are three types of 3D modeling, right? Actually, four. There are four types of 3D modeling. So we have these ones that we call NURBS. We have polygon, which are the most common. We have subdivision, subdiv modeling, and then we have volumes, volume modeling. You know, these volumes are primarily used in um, motion graphics, SDK volumes. So we have nerves, polygons, subdivisions, and volumes. All of them use different modeling techniques. We are learning 3D now, or we're going to be using these techniques. You cannot use the same method to use to model in polygons to model in NURBS. It won't work. The object won't even work. It will not even respond. The tools will not even work on them on themselves. There are different tools that work on polygons than those that work on NURBS, right? So NURBS, NURBS, it's an acronym for non-uniform rational base splines. So splines. To form a NURB, you need splines. How many of us have bought this granite they used to sell on the road where the pan will now carry? Those ones, Whether it's roasted or fried. Okay. You see, they'll carry a paper like this and then they'll fold the paper and round it up like this, right? The hair good. That is how nerves are. A nerve is not, a nerve doesn't have faces, a nerve doesn't have edges. A nerve has what we call a control vertex, not vertices either. Because a vertex can control an object that has a defined edge. Nerves don't have defined edges, so they have what we call control vertices. The vertices don't exist on the shape, they exist outside of the shape. So they like work like strings to adjust them. So a nerve usually is a flat plane, or let's say if for since we've not entered into it, let's just use the word is a face, a singular face like this that you now conform to create the model of a shape. So it doesn't have divisions, it's just folded to get that shape. So it can be unwrapped and you can close back. Those kind of thing good. So those are how nerves work. They are non-uniform, rational-based splines. That's what that we call them nerves. Polygons like this, meshes, a lot of faces stitched together so that you can deform it or create whatever you want to do. Now, what is a subdiv? A subdiv is a polygon or a knobs that is subdivided. So, and he always divides it into four. So, for instance, I have a polygon face like this. Let's say this is a cube, right? That I want to make use subdivisions to make. So I just have one face, one segment. When I add a subdiv, it divides that segment into four everywhere. If I add another level of subdiv, it divides this four into four. If I add another subdiv, it divides this four into four more. So it keeps dividing a face into four. So the more subdivisions you add, the more faces you get. Subdiv modeling is what is used for sculpting. When you want to sculpt, you need a lot of faces. A Blender, what do you call that? This guy? No. Uh, Blender is primarily a sculpting software. You can model, but it's not primarily a modeling software. Most of the tools are created subdiv. But yes, no. Mm. Yeah, there is a course. We're not offering it here in Abuja though. There is a Blender course that Aptech has. So, but as a multimedia package, Blender isn't part of it because in the industry, out there professionally, when you say multimedia specialist, Blender is not one of the criteria for 3D because it's not for the fact that it's open source. Blender is just right now is trying to do that to become industry standard because a lot of people are using it now. And one of the major hitches Blender has is collaboration with other softwares. It could not collaborate with other softwares. Even tonight, it's still struggling. If I create a model in Blender and I want to go and work on it on 3ds Max or Maya, I have to export it first because no other software can read Blender files. They have very unique files. Other softwares can read themselves, but Blender can't integrate. And in the industry, we use multiple softwares at the same time. Like, oh, okay, I finished with Maya, I should be able to, or Cinema 4D, I should be able to link it to After Effects, link it to Premiere Pro, as everything should link. Blender is just like one yeah, you just yeah, you just need, yeah, it's a good software though. It's a good software, and well, it's good for those that use it. So subdiv is for sculpting. So if you want to sculpt, you need a lot of faces because you need a lot of segments to define the object. If it doesn't have a lot of divisions, your sculpt won't come out well. Then volume modeling is like using gas to create a solid object. Gaseous like stuff. It actually uses the concept of booleans. Remember what booleans do? Like unions, when you have two shapes, you do boolean union, subtract, intersect. So yeah. So volume modeling uses a sort of boolean technique to connect multiple objects. Of all the modeling techniques, is the most non-destructive. Booleans, yeah, because you can create, carry this cube, carry this cone, carry this, connect them together to make a kind of shape, but you don't need to delete anything, you don't need to cut anything, you don't need to squeeze anything. If you change your mind, you can just separate them again, right? But for these other ones, you have to cut some things, delete some things, and trim off some things. So yeah, subdivide. Like this box that we have here now. It's the chamfer subdivided this place. Otherwise, it will just be one face. But now we have this. So if I have to select this, I have to select this loop, select this loop again to make sure I get this section. If not, it's only this loop. So you can see the fillet segments here are three. You can increase it to have more subdivisions. You can reduce it to have less. So you can see with less subdivisions, it's too smooth that it doesn't really recognize this thing. So you need to add more. In 3D design, anytime you create something and you see black, that is error. So do not expect to see error. Those errors are caused by what we call N guns. N and guns. NGON. Interesting. No, it's too soft to be a villain now. So, end guns. End guns are polygons that have more than four sides. They're just like you say, a three-sided polygon. Then you call it a triangle or a tri. And then the four-sided polygon will be called a quad. Then you now say you have a five-sided polygon. What would you call that? Yeah? A five star. So, so it falls under end guns because in modeling we just have quads and trigons. So we don't have quintons. That is five. So, so everything has to be four. Now, for that purpose, when we are creating our models, you can create your models that have faces connected by three edges, which will give you triangles, or four edges, which will give you quadrangles or quads. Anything more than that, you will have that thing that happens with GTA players. Have you ever seen where the GTA character is walking and goes near the wall and it's like he's glitching with the wall and it's all this kind of thing? The software doesn't understand what to read. in that design at that point. Engons can create those kind of errors for you in your project. Or the hand is trying to move, then as the hand reaches here, there's one kind of glitch here. So you'll be wondering, you'll be wondering what is glitching. The glitch in the matrix. Like somebody gave an example. Say normal girls, normal girls walk like this. Normal girls. Then GT, I said like, hi, GT. I said which kind of walk? All of them just have one bow leg. So, but so when modeling, because we will be modeling, avoid end guns. They are not good. Make sure you always have four sides. Four is best, is better. Three sides is okay. That's the standard. But for a model that you are going to animate, you need four sides, not three. Three sides will mess up your design. See, although tessellation methods require that every chord is divided is a combination of two triangles. Every chord is a combination of two triangles. So tessellation method, the computer is reading it based on triangles, not on squares. Um, this these statements I'm making are quite important. They come out in exam. So please check, or you can check your books, your novels, the Aptech books. Those books are, when it comes to this section, the books are a little bit more defined. So read them. Okay, so this is creation of the objects. Just basically click draw and modernize them. But as this object is, let me delete this once and make a basic box again. So if I make my box, right, so I have to right click to come out of it. Now, whenever you right click to come out of a drawing, one of the things you realize is the icon, the parametry option disappears from here. So it's not an error, it's just that you've come out of creation mode. Yes. So to access your parametric data again, you need to go into the modify tab, which is the second tab. This was the create tab. This is the modify tab. That will now show you the parameters. So you can do your length, width, height. So right now, even if I add um, 5 segments across these objects, now what 5 segments means is not 5 lines, it's the segments, the spacing that the lines create. So, so if I do three, sorry, if I do three, it is the spaces. So these are the segments. So this is divided, this is divided, this is divided. So length segments, width segments, height segments. What that means is my length is the blue axis like this, right, going up. So length segments is dividing the length. That's the sorry, length, the red one. So it's dividing the length. So basically, if I do this now and I increase my length segments, you see what it's dividing. It's dividing the length of the cube. Okay. If I do, so that means what is it cutting based on this diagram now, or based on this gizmo? What is it cutting? Which axis is it cutting based on this gizmo? The y-axis. The width segment is the breadth. So that is going to be dividing the x-axis, right? So, and then we have the height segment that divides the z-axis. So before I move on, is Z supposed to point up or forward? Z axis is supposed to be forward, right? Yeah. So it points to you. Y goes up, right? But if you look at it, it's exactly like AutoCAD. The Y is not going up, it's going straight. It's Z that's pointing up, and X is doing that. No, it's not the angle. That is um, the Cartesian axis that imagines. I talked about it in AutoCAD. That imagine when you are drawing a graph sheet, right? Let's say this is paper. So Y will be up, X will be down. Then you don't want to make it Z. So you just imagine lying the paper down. So that Y now points down. It's not pointing up. It's now this way. X is here, and Z is now here. Okay, until you stand the paper again. All right. So because of that plotting idea, so when you're plotting, normally, no, that's not why they haven't believed. But basically, if you are plotting a graph or you're plotting on in AutoCAD, the grid is like the floor, right? Yeah. So instead of me to plot up here, I carry the paper and lie it down. So if I carry my ruler, where will I be drawing the Y? If that is a good, it will be this way. Good. And my X will be this way. Good. So that means we are now introducing a new axis. They now be pointing up towards me. That's why we have the Z going up and the Y going that way. Because in plotting, this is your Y. Based on how I'm looking at this. So that Cartesian axis follows that paper and plane. And then you can now do your user coordinate system and change it if you like. So it can be confusing at times, but everything about three dimension tells you that Y is up, X is to your right and left, Z comes forward and backwards. But when you look here, it's kind of messed up. So, but this matches AutoCAD and Revit very well. It's Maya that corrects it, that places it well. Cinema 4D places it well. Blender places it well as well. So, but for that purpose, these guys. Now, if I wanted to select a face like this and extrude this face, I cannot. I can't select this face. I can't select this edge. Neither can I select the vertex. Because right now, this object is still a primitive. I can't edit it manually. For me to edit it, I need to convert it to something editable, to one of those editable forms for me to edit it. So if you right click on it, look in the command panel here, we only have box. There's nothing to edit about it. So but if I right click on it, down at the bottom I have convert and I have the editable mesh, editable poly, editable patch, editable node, or a NURBS. So the most common or the most easy to control is the polygon, editable poly, so that you can work on the individual points. So if you convert it to an editable poly now, this name here will change from box to editable poly. Having vertices, you can see them, the edges, which are the blue lines, the border, which is the complete, that's like the whole edges around the border, then the polygon, then the elements. No, the polygon is the faces, and the element is the whole face. So right now, if I'm in polygon, I can select one of this. If I'm in edges, I can select one of the lines. If I'm vertices, I can select any of the vertices. So now if I'm in border is gonna pick a whole border. So I can't pick one line. Then it's just gonna be the whole. I have to be selecting everything. That's the same thing with the element. So element to select the whole element, right? Good. So that's how they work generally. So borders will help me pick things like the contour, that's the everything around. So let's say I pick an edge, I can pick an edge and pull out the edge or pull it in to create a model. From that, I can pick a polygon face and move it out to make whatever I want to do. So that's when you can edit the objects. Yeah. What makes Maya sweeter is I don't need to convert the object once I create it. I can switch to any of these things and just edit it at once. So, but here I have to convert it, and you have to know what you're converting it for. And then there are some different weird conversion option, editing options. So, like for instance, um, I have selected this face, right? I want to bring it out, but it's not coming out the way I want it. I want it alone to come out to create a new body. So that means I need to extrude it. So I use the extrude tool, and then in my extrude tool, I click on this guy to extrude it out. Right. Then I can extrude in and do something like maybe a scale to reduce the the extrusion level, something like this. Then extrude again and bring it out front. So right click. So I have now created this kind of device, whatever it is. So to edit an object, basically, you need to be in one of these modes, vertex, edge, or polygon, to edit the object. So, but the best method to modify an object is from the smallest point of the object. So, for today's class, I want us to create a cup, a basic cup. So let's all create a cylinder. Let's create a cup from here. So everyone go to your create tab, create cups. Are they cylindrical or square? Okay, that's how to be sure. Yeah, I also wanted to know. I wanted to be sure we knew. Okay, so everyone create a cylinder. Um, click. Yeah, probably. Let's create a cylinder cup. Click, click on center. Everyone, click on. Make sure your cylinder is on center. Then click in the center of your grid where the point of origin where they meet. Click to create a radius for your radius 1 or your normal radius, and then click to form the height and stop. So everyone should do this. You can do a radius of, let's say, 500 and a height of 1,200. You can actually just type the figures there before you, without drawing. Just something interesting. Then height segments, because we're going to be bringing out a handle, so height segments should be 5. Cap segments make 1, as in 2, sorry, as in 1 ring, so make it 2 cap segments. All right, do we have this? You don't have it, don't talk. Yeah, since yeah. Amir, you got it? All right. So right click to come out of it. Right click to come out of it. Yeah, radius 500, height 1200. Not really big. My units, what units are you using? Millimeters? 500 millimeters? Is mit is millimeters. But remember when we started, I said we're using millimeters because we're using metric system. In your cost, you can't check in your modifier. You see. Okay, so that means you're using inches. Go to your customize unit setup. To select metric, then change to millimeters. Okay, good. So change to 500 and change to this. Then cap segments two. When you are done, come to your yeah, cap segments two. Then exit the creation method. Come to your modify panel. You should still have the name cylinder here. Right click on the objects and make it, convert it to an editable poly. Right click on the object to bring up the chord menu, convert to editable poly. Poly, poly, poly editable polytechnic. No, it's not poly. It's not that poly. Please go away. All right. So, yeah, I want to even go out of the screen, but it's Alt W. Alt W. All right. So, to zoom full into any of your windows here, because we need to be in these windows so that we can see what we're doing. Wherever your mouse is hovered, as long as the object is selected, just press Z. Z will zoom to extents of the object so that it's full on the screen. So we need it on the orthographic views. That's the 2D views. Okay. So let's determine a spot. I want to select from the front view. Just check which of your views, whether it's front or side, but I think it will be front. Which view has uh, this black line dividing? I think we should even, let me even check something out. Um, okay, this y-axis here, in our coordinates, let's zero this out. Zero out your y-axis and zero out your x-axis in your coordinates so that, yeah, the object selected here, just click on it and press zero. going away. Go to your select, go to your move tool. Okay, so zero the next. Mm. We want to bring out, I think it should be in the front view. That's this one on top here. I want to select this spot and this spot and extrude them out. Just this and this. So I need to switch either from here or from here to polygon mode. That's clicking on this arrow, you can switch polygon mode, or you just click it here. I want to select this one, then hold Control and select this one. That's the trick here. To select multiple objects in 3ds Max is Control, not Shift. Wait, hold up, sir. The polygon mode. Select those two like that. Toggle this guy, or you click on this blue one there, the one that has the name polygon. Select one face, hold Control, select the other face. So that there's a gap between them. So you should have empty, red, empty, red, empty, something like that. Yeah, and you should see it here. Yeah. All right. So what we want to do now is extrude. To have control of your extrude, click on the box beside the extrude. Don't click on extrude. Click on the box, the settings here. Click on it. It will bring out this um, helper menu here. This thing. This this first one is to change whether it's extruding as a group or as singular objects. The second one is the length of your extrusion. So I want to have, I think this length is not too bad, but then I want, let me, let me, no, I think it's not too bad. Let me do 250, probably, 250 instead of 254. But don't click enter, just click that. And here, I want to add. So I want to make an extrusion of three segments, basically. So I want to click on the cross here 3 times to add 3 segments. Mhm. So once you have done that, just close, doesn't click on the check mark to accept what you did. Don't bother that it looks like this. You can come in here and Z so that, or just pan it so that you see the extent to what you are doing. Yeah. Are you ready? Okay. So press Q on your keyboard or click on this select object option here. That's one here. In 3ds Max, the short keys are Q, W, E, and R for your selection, move, rotate, and scale. So we'll still talk about it in tomorrow's class. All right. What we want to do with these red sides is I want to tilt them kind of to face themselves. So in this queue, this select object mode, I want to select just one so that it doesn't confuse my rotation. So select one, press E on your keyboard, or click on rotate to rotate. We want to rotate along the red axis. That's from this front view, the line that is crossing here. That's what I want to click and rotate from. We want to rotate this way, not too much, just a little bit of a tilt here. And then you do that for the next option. So you select the second one on the bottom, but this time you rotate it upwards to get. So make sure you are looking at all your views to be certain that you are in good form. Hmm? Have you done that?
Okay, now I see why this is used. Now I see why this is used.
So have we tilted them, the one on top and the one at the bottom? All right. Okay. All right. So I'm switching back to my selection tool or select tool, which is Q. I want to select, hold control and select this top one again so that both of them are selected. Now we want to connect them. We'll use a technique called a bridge. We want to bridge the gap between those two friends. So in our command panel, we will see the bridge there. So you can click on the settings as well. Usually if you want to control what you're doing, always click on the settings. So click on the settings to bridge. If you have a twist like this, don't be scared. It's just the tessellation of the bridge. So what we have here is the segments and the smooth, the taper, the bias, and all this other stuff. So increasing any of them, like now this is the segments. If you add segments to the bridge, you are adding like lines, more lines. The taper is the where the bridge tilts or thins out at one or thaws out at one point. So, but what we have is a twist. Now, I have a twist of 0, and I don't want to twist my bridge. So I'm going to reduce the twist number instead to 2, -2. If your own didn't twist, there's no need for this. But since mine twisted at 0, like this, all I have to do is just untwist. So I can untwist from here. This is the first twist, this is the second twist, in case you have a very complex stuff. So you can add a segment to your bridge, one segment, or try to mix like two here. We need one line to divide here. Once you're done, just click OK. Guys, click on the check mark, and the hand is almost ready. I know it looks very long. You're like, which kind of cup hand is this? This is where we go to modify our objects. So to modify objects, I already said it. Use the smallest element of the mesh to modify, which is a vertex. So click on vertex. You want to marquee select the this that's in all these hands now. You can marquee select them, the whole thing. That's the pins like this. You can click on the scale tool, which is your R. Yeah. Scale on the x-axis alone. Make sure you're on the x-axis. Scale on the x-axis alone. to bring it tighter. You are going to create space between it and the body of the cup. No problem. You switch to W, which is move, and move it backwards. Okay, switch to W and move it on the x-axis backwards. Then switch back to your select tool. We want to now modify this guy.
Yeah.
So switch back to your select tool. Marquee and select these two vertices on the inside. Don't pick the one on the outside. Just marquee, select these two. Okay. To be sure you've selected both the one in front and the one at the back. See this place that has back face. Make sure it's not turned on.
Okay.
Back face, if it's turned on, you only be able to select what you are seeing, but not what you is behind. So make sure it's not turned on. It should be gray. It's here. Make sure it's gray. It should not be blue. If it's blue, it's on. Otherwise, you can just orbit around here to be sure that you got those two guys. So we have this. So this is one of the.
Wait, sir.
Yep.
Is it the blue button?
I didn't. No, I think you should check for anything. I have to make sure it's not on. So you will select that back face should not turn blue.
Oh, back face is grayed out.
Yes.
Yeah,
So that's how it should be. Yeah. So from these red guys I have selected, switch to your scale tool, R, and scale up on the Z axis or on the Y axis. Sorry, to create. Don't scale too much. Just scale. Let there be a kind of fish-like sign there. Switch back to Q, select this ones. Switch back to R, scale this one. So what we are doing is basically selecting these guys on the inside and scaling them. What is the word I want to use now? Scaling them accordingly.
Sir,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hearing you.
kind of that.
Um, Jason. Okay, mouse. Yeah? Use your hand, man. I did not. Okay, I didn't give you. No wonder you're observing. All right. You are not in any of the modes now, so it's not going to work. You have to be in a mode. So I said highlight this one, okay, and scale to, which is R. Scale on the Y. You open it up. Switch back. Pick the next one. Next set. And switch it like that. So we're just basically scaling out the shape of the handle. Okay. Sorry. Okay, and then lastly, I want to scale this one on the outside here. Want to scale it down to create a curve. And these ones here, carefully, these ones here, this one's by this edge here, by the edge of the cup. I want to just bring that one up a little bit. So basically, you're just modifying the handle of the cup. Don't worry about the smoothness, we will get it smooth. When we're done, let me know. Are we okay? Are we done? Don't worry, it doesn't have to be too perfect. Just get it to look weird enough. At this point, you are doing what we call blocking. You're just creating the basic structure or base mesh for the object. It doesn't have to be smooth, it just has to be blocked out correctly. At the end of the day, we will now smooth it out with a tool. So, yep, remove. And we will get there now. We will get there. There we shall get. Okay. Are we done? Are we almost done? Or are we semi done? Yeah. Okay. Control Z can solve a lot of problems, but not all problems. You're doing faces, so you should use vertices. Vertices. Control Z, undo everything. You need the vertices. So from there now, bridge, bridge. Good. Yeah. So now we switch to acyclic phase. Go to vertex, vertex. Command panel. The command panel is on your head. Vertex is good. Switch this guy. Switch this guy to switch him. Click it. Switch it to edge faces. At least here you can see your edges good. So this is where we're working on. So selecting with since you're on vertices, use Q or your select tool, this one, and marquee select the vertices in the center that's inside the handle. Then scale it on the y-axis. Do the next one, scale it again. Do the next one, scale it in. So just to create that oval shape. Let me see. TJ, you done right? Okay. Amir, you done? Why? Yeah, you need to because you need to start over again. Because that will take a lot of time. Jason, sit with Mary side. Yeah, following to see. To help him out. To help him out. Amir, okay. Which other? So TJ, what you do? Switch to edge. Switch to edge.
And then
What we are looking for is this guy. Double click on the inner ring from the top view. You done that? Good. Then with your scale tool, scale out the ring. You want to try and form where the rim of the cup will be. No, don't scale in. You're scaling in one direction. Undo. Your scale now, you have to scale on. It's a circle. You have to scale in every direction. That's clicking on this guy. You scale on this. You only scale on the y-axis. Yes. Alexis stop the circle. What is circle? Is the um, is your choice of choice. No. Alright, and this one should not be on. Okay, let it be this one. so you can pick what you want. Right. Okay, so see, since we've done this, what we need to select now is faces. Switch to faces, polygon faces. That's polygon. Okay. Yeah. Now that back face that we talked about, we'll now need to select it. As in this guy,
Okay, so
the back face selected, right? Good. So what we're trying to select now is all these faces. So just draw a marquee to use your selection tool, sorry, to draw a marquee to select all those top faces. You done? Draw a marquee. You select the top one. See, like set my top one. Mhm. Yeah, good. Right. So extrude. Remember, yeah, click on the box for extrude. Yes, I should bring. Okay, I'm coming. Click extrude. Then in this, in the millimeters there, just go on the negative. Observe from the parts of the cup when it gets in. Become beyond kilo days. No, I'm not sitting. What happened? What? In stage two. So on staging from stage two.
so how deep should I be?
I'm coming.
Extrude. It's not on the.
It's there.
Sir, how deep should I go?
Observe the cup as you are dragging. Be watching the red line. You know, it's supposed to. No, 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 no. Drag your listen. Just be observing. No, no, no. Use the hand. Use the arrow. See them now. No. See it. Click and just click and drag down. Yeah. So. You know, cups don't really reach the end. So that's the point there.
Let's do some let's
Yeah. So after you've done that, just accept it. Accept it. You can use your scale to scale it in a little bit. So it's not very straight. Then with your vertex tool, back to your vertex, you want to select this center one. Want to select that center one and use your move tool and raise it up a little. Your vertex tool, so then switch to vertex. Switch to your selection tool.
and then
Select this guy, the one in the middle, the vertex. Just click it.
put
Then switch to your move tool. Move. Then drag it up. Once you're done, just select back editable poly so that you can see the shape of your cup. Save this. We'll I'm coming on to we. I should take my time. And I recorded what I just said.
that's always a difficult.